Folks, bear with me for just a second. I'm posting in all the usual places that I'm getting started. Hello, hello, welcome. Give me just a second. I'm posting in all of the usual places that I'm getting started with my next stream. Didn't quite have time to do that before I got started here. Hey. Everything is going quite well, actually. Got a 2-hour delay tomorrow, had a snow day today. No real complaints. Okay, that's the last place. So go ahead and close that, make sure everything's muted. All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Phil Gallagher. I run ThrabenU University, and tonight we're going to be streaming with some Death and Taxes. Well, Strix, welcome. You've come to the right place if you're interested in exploration of D&T. Since this is one of the first times you've been here, let me walk you through a couple of different styles of deck lists, just like super quickly before we get started here, and that'll give people time to join anyway. Most of these deck lists, or something very close to them, is up on the deck list tab on my website. So this is my sort of stock 4 Mirren Crusader build. This is a build you want to play if you really want to beat Czech Pile, because a whole bunch of recruiters plus Mirren Crusaders in force, it makes it really easy to blank their removal and some of their threats that are normally kind of annoying, like Baleful Strix. Otherwise, if you still want to play mono white, you can do essentially the same deck list, but split between Mirren Crusader and Sarah Avengers. That'll make you a little bit better against Delver and a little bit worse against Czech Pile. If you have an older version of D&T, one of those two deck lists is probably a really good starting point. Oh man, I came online just a few seconds too late. That's unfortunate. Womp womp. Alright, so, sorry, I forgot what I was saying. One thing that I've been testing is Selfless Spirit in D&T. I don't know that it's necessarily good, but it's shown initial promise. Otherwise, there's been a lot of testing lately of a red-white build that splashes for Magus of the Moon and Pia and Kieran Nalar. This build plays very differently than traditional D&T, but if you're not used to playing this is maybe not something you want to like pick up and play in Seattle without a lot of testing. What do I think of Barbara's build? It's weird. It's very interesting. So for anyone who didn't catch that stream earlier today or one of his previous builds, right now he's testing a red-white build that has like 4 Spirit of the Labyrinth, 4 Vryn Wingmare, 4 Direfleet Daredevil, a Magus of the Moon, I think 2 Hallowed Spirit Keepers, cutting the Stoneforge Mystic package entirely to free up 7 slots. It's very interesting, and I think he also cuts Swords to Plowshares in order to jam all of that stuff in there. So it's sort of like a stronger disruption-based front at the cost of your mid-range game. So losing out on like Swords of Plowshare, Stoneforge Mystic, Jitte, Batterskull, Sword of Fire and Ice means that like against decks that have a strong board presence, you're a lot weaker. But against a lot of your like blue cantrip-based decks, you're much, much stronger. The Black said, yes. I think I have that list linked on my website under the deck lists tab. I intend to play it. I have a deal with Card Hoarder where I'm going to get to borrow a bunch of cards from them for free because they're cool people. My bot is in the process of being made so that I can go and do all of that stuff. Once that happens, I'll stream a few matches with the blue-white build. This is Egget's build that had Stifle in it, although there's another blue-white build, slightly different, that I think runs a few more true names, Click, and Spellqueller instead. What do you think of red-white, 2 Vryn, and 1 Mirren in the flex slot? It's totally reasonable. Well, if you have no plateaus, I definitely stick to mono-white. I am a big believer in playing what you know if you don't have a lot of time to test. If you don't have a lot of time to test, just like playing a deck list that you're comfortable with, that you feel like you know how it works, will probably do better for you than like the 1 or 2% percentage points you can get by playing something that's a little more geared to like attack the specific metagame. Oh, Bahra, thank you very much for hosting. We were just talking about your build. So tonight I think I'm just gonna go ahead and play the four Mirren Crusader builds. I feel like I've been running into a whole lot of Czech Pile, so I feel like I just want to try to beat up on them with some Mirren Crusaders and make myself feel better. Everything else here is pretty stock. I've been trying some new things with the mono-white sideboard, so I've been going up to the 3rd Path to Exile, and I'm trying the package of Recruiter of the Guard and Leon Relic Warder, and the 3rd Path to Exile over what I've been previously playing, which was Surgical Extraction, and Sword of War and Peace. Hello again, Stat Gript. How important is the 4th Flicker Wisp? I played with 3 a long time ago, never missed the 4th. So now that Recruiter of the Guard is in the deck, I think the 4th Flicker Wisp is more important than ever, because like if you're top decking versus your opponent and you get a Recruiter of the Guard, you can like Recruiter of the Guard for Flicker Wisp the Recruiter Guard, get a Flicker Wisp the Recruiter of the Guard again, get another Flicker Wisp, and just go like absolutely bonkers on them. So I would heavily consider playing the 4th Flicker Wisp. Do you have to? No. I just think it's very, very good. Flicker Wisp is one of those cards that gets you out of weird spots pretty easily. Hey, Cabrito Montes, thank you very much for hosting. Yeah, so I think we're going to try to play with just 4 Graveyard Hate... Excuse me. I think we're going to try to play with 4 Graveyard Hate cards instead of 5. The Surgicals are fine, but my win percentage versus Black-Red Reanimator is already pretty good, so I wonder if it's really super, super necessary. It might be, but on the games where I don't get, like, just absolutely nutted by them, I bring in 3/4 of my sideboard anyway. Like, I bring in every card not named Cataclysm for that matchup. So I think we probably have enough sideboard cards for the matchup. Oh no, I don't want to do that. Okay, so the last time you played was with Thalia Heretic Cathar. Yeah. You're going to want at least 1 prelate in your 75. It's a really, really useful tutor target and is super important for some matchups like Show and Tell and Lands. Hey, F-Freak, thank you very much for subscribing. Praise be to Thalia. Now you get the sweet emoji. Or, excuse me, emote. Not emoji, emote. Very, very, very different. All right, folks, I'm just going to go ahead and jam some games with Crusaders. I guess I need to change this deck list name from 4 Crusaders, Sword of War and Peace if I'm not playing Sword of War and Peace, but so be it. Oh, yeah, sure. I can show the red-white deck. I believe this deck list is also up on Thraben University on the deck list tabs. Like within one card, if it's not this list exactly. My hand is reasonable against a good portion of the format. Alright, mirror it is. Yeah, it's real hard to annoy me with questions. I'm going to shut off their vial first, because I have a second revoker that can shut off the Jitte, and the mom checks the Jitte temporarily anyway. But I'm really scared of my opponent just like getting way, way ahead on tempo with the Ether Vial. That's something I can't beat. Well, this is not good. Can only stop one of those two pieces of equipment now, and I don't have a flyer to just block the Flicker Wisp and solve this problem. How do I win from here? My lines to win involve my opponent not having a fourth land. I can't even just like play out this vial and hope to generate advantage over time with it, because my opponent, if they start getting ahead on board with equipment, they'll just like ignore my revoker and kill my mom. So the vial is not a good long-term plan. Alright, we're gonna revoke Jitte. Hope my opponent bricks on fourth land, and if they brick on the land, then we can draw something like a Swords to Plowshares to get a tempo blowout and then re-examine from there. Or we can just die. That's fine too. definitely think my opponent misplayed by not just, like... I think unlocking the Ether Vial is the least important decision they could have made. Like, the least impactful decision. I don't know the rest of their hand, obviously, but, like, if their best play is just put in Crusader right now, it seems like, you know, getting rid of the Revoker on Jitte and going Jitte equip on the next turn puts them into a position where they never, ever lose. Or alternatively, like, getting rid of the Mom before I draw a flyer is also great. Not that it particularly matters, because I've got a clunker of a hand. And my opponent has 1 to 2 pieces of active equipment, depending on what they do here. Alright, that's good enough for me. Is it? Have any outs? So I'm going to hit for 5, dead to the Flicker Wisp the next turn. My opponent will just port me, so I can't get a creature. I'll take the couple more clicks. The clock is not a concern. I might get a little bit of extra information about, like, 1 more card that's in my opponent's deck. I might get a, you know, a better idea if they're playing, like, more copies of Mirror and Crusader, or whether they've got anything spicy in their list. Okay, that should eliminate any and all outs. Because that's 5, 8, 9, 10 off the sword trigger. While the mirror is often skill intensive, sometimes you're just on the wrong side of multiple pieces of equipment, and that's that, and you're done. Alright, so I usually pull 5 cards for this matchup. I usually pull 4 Thalias and 1 Prelate, and that would mean that with this build I'd bring in 1 Path to Exile as extra removal. Hey, destroy target tapped creature, that's what I like to hear. More D&T, more great games of Magic. Well, we're keeping a 1-lander. But it's a 1-lander that has all of the 1-drops in my deck. This is going to be really good against just about anything except an opposing Aether Vial opener. He says as the opponent has it. Oh man, did my opponent also keep a 1-lander? Well, we'll see whose 1-lander is better. I'm just going to keep things clear. If my opponent has a Batter Skull in hand, I really don't want that to hit play if they have another land. Alright, opponent's hand is Mono Stone Forges. Hey, you remember that Batter Skull I played around? Opponent actually had it. Kinda surprised that my opponent did not activate a Stoneforge to put in a piece of equipment. white-red versus mono-white in the mirror is a complicated question. The red-white version has better endgame inevitability, but a weaker mana base. Alright, opponent scooped it up. I don't know if they like ticked up their Aether Vial too early and just had Stone Cold nothing, or if the moms just completely invalidated their hand, or like whether they had a bunch of white cards they couldn't do anything with. I don't know what exactly happened there, but they did not do much. Yeah, the mono-white build often has more flyers, not necessarily. Like the build I'm running right now has a bunch of Crusaders, for example. And the red-white build can run a bunch of Wingmares, like I do in my build, to make up for the fact that it's losing out on Sarah Avengers. Yeah, I've been prioritizing the ability to grind post-board in the Grixis Delver matchup. So yes, I am still on the don't board and rest in peace for that matchup plan. Ugh, opponent on a Vile start again. Alright, you have a Jitte. But I also have a Jitte. I'm going to shut off my opponent's Vile in the hopes that that does a lot of damage to their hand. Since I have this Path to Exile, I can probably get around, like, the first Jitte swinging in activation sort of thing. Opponent has drawn a lot more Stoneforge Mystics than me this round. Ah, fucking fantastic. Super punished. Alright. I guess this is a turn where I go Flicker Wisp, bounce one of my planes. The fact that this is a path and not a sword is really biting me, because it gives them the land. I can Council's Judgment away the Mom. Hope they don't have land to play and equip. Then cast my own Jitte. And use Path to Exile the next turn in order to get a Time Walk. This is all very anemic. I can also just Flicker Wisp my Revoker and give up on the opposing Ether Vial. I'm not in a good spot. Any one of the lines I take has a considerable degree of risk to it. I think I have to play for them not having the 4th land. I think that is my best chance at victory. I don't care about them putting the Batterskull in play. That's beatable. Them connecting with Jitte is not. The downside of this play is that, you know, now I don't currently have a long-term answer to the Jitte. My long-term answer to beat Jitte is get my own Jitte equipped and get ahead. Ah, shit, they had the 4th land. That's super bad. Now I probably can't win this one. I will trade here just to get that body off the table, then they can't just dump the Batterskull in for free. So I didn't think through this turn very much. I just kind of like did something on autopilot there. Because I think I'm dead. It probably would have been better to just like cast my Jitte, hold up, path, wasteland them. Or flicker the Jitte. I was pretty convinced I was dead to, like, literally any creature coming in off of Ether Vial, but my opponent had nothing. Oh, it's not me right now. And this is super unfortunate. I need to remove this this recruiter before my opponent gets to untap with the Flicker Wisp up. This is not how I want to use this card. I want to use it for a huge tempo boost. I guess that's a start. Yup. So in order to win this game, I guess I have to play towards my opponent just like stone cold having absolutely nothing. I can just name Jitte again, or I can name Batterskull so Batterskull can't just go on Flicker Wisp, which I think is what I'm going to do. I think if I lose the game anyway if my opponent has a removal spell. And I think I need my land more than my opponent. So I think going and wastelanding them is not optimal in the face of their Aether Vial, Wasteland, and Port. Alright, that's good enough for me. We can call it quits there. Alright, so you say name Jitte again. If we name Jitte again, like, there's no way that we're getting ahead, right? We lock the Jitte down, but then the Flicker Wisp is going to pick up the Batterskull, and it would have happened that turn, right? So my opponent just ignores my two Revokers, just goes land, equip on Flicker Wisp, and I'm in bad trouble. So I think in order to have a shot at winning, I just have to assume that my opponent has nothing and go from there. Any thoughts on Big Thalia? I do not like it at all in Death and Taxes. I really like it in decks like White Eldrazi and Maverick. Being able to put it down a turn earlier matters a ton. On turn 3, it's an okay play. When you're on the play, on the draw, it feels pretty lackluster. Yeah, I mean, from very early on, it's very clear that my opponent is going to run away with that one. My opponent's playing Czech Pile. It's Joe Lissette. So when are you going to write an article about my new deck? I don't think I'm going to write an article about your pile yet, Barbara. When you get to 5-0 and it starts to look promising, we'll talk. I like the exploration, but I'm still skeptical. I don't know that for a lot of the mid-range matchups, your build has what it takes. I really like it against a good portion of the format, though. Against like the Delver decks and Czech Pile sorts of decks, I imagine that it is disgusting. But like playing the mirror without equipment or playing matchups like Maverick without equipment, just that sounds terrible. Man, it's a real shame my hand doesn't do a goddamn thing. Can't really afford to wasteland my opponent because I need my lands very, very badly. Yeah, see, there's a reason why I'm not streaming that build right now. It's because I hate Spirit of the Labyrinth with a passion. Card is a scumbag. Land would be decent, yes. Really want to deploy either Crusader or Prelate. 'Cause, 'Prelate. 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 ' Why do I hate the card? Because it's unplayable. Unplayable piece of garbage that does everything wrong ever. It's terrible in combat if the opponent has literally anything. It grows Tarmogoyf by 2. Unless you're playing a bunch, it's pretty rare that you actually get to do what you want with it. Yeah, but Revoker is a Swiss Army knife. Whereas Spear of the Labyrinth is like a triangle head screwdriver. Where sometimes it's exactly what you need, but most of the time it's just not usable. Who plays Tarmogoyf anymore? Bahra got beat down by like 3 Tarmogoyfs in one game earlier today. Alright, that is a land. I'm really tempted to just double Wasteland, if I'm being completely honest. Like, my hand's really bad. If I just cast Recruiter, what do I even Recruiter for? Like, I have the cards I want. See, what's neat about this is that if my opponent fetches... Oop, nope, did not fetch. Well, never mind. What I was going to say is that if my opponent fetched and like did something like a Fatal Push on the Thalia, I'd still have an opportunity to go and cast one again. Starstreet, thank you very much for resubbing. Your support means a lot. Maybe your support will help me draw a land at some point this game. Maybe. Push. Push. This didn't backfire. This is all according to plan. Plan was lose game 1, win games 2 and 3, right? That's the plan. Don't play Jace. Please don't play Jace, Joe. Yeah, this is something I tried to avoid by double wastelanding. Just immediately going for Fate's Sail. And they gave me the mob. So they've got removal. They just don't want me to have lands to play Magic. Seems correct. So, if in some magical Christmas land scenario this mom somehow survives, and I draw land, and Recruiter also survives somehow, maybe we'll get somewhere. Alright, so Snapcaster, Fatal Push, get my mom. Yup. Cards on top of my library, so it's not going to be a land. And they have a death right. Every time I think repetitive stream content, I give up. There you are to save the day. I do what I can. I do what I can. But winning this game is not one of those things. The reason I waited for this was to see if my opponent would try to Jace bounce their Snapcaster Mage. They did not try to do that. Do you have an updated D&T list? I have many updated D&T lists. You can check them all out on the deck list tabs of ThrabenU University. The link to that is below the stream. Joke's on you, pal. I have plenty of things to discard. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying the deck. I think it's a blast. Alright. I think we're close enough to done here where we can go ahead and call it. Yeah. I think some amount of exploration is very, very good for D&T. So, if you're interested in innovation for D&T, Bacha has a pretty neat video from today from his stream where he's playing a really weird list that doesn't run Swords to Plowshares or Stoneforge Mystic. That's worth checking out. Otherwise, I have a handful of deck lists up, ranging from blue-white to red-white with Direfleet Daredevil to a couple of different mono-white builds. So there's a lot there to check out if you're interested. Yeah, maybe even more so in Modern. Changing your deck list regularly is really important. Alright, while this isn't an Aether Vial-based hand or anything like that, I have a very, very aggressive curve. This is a hand where I don't want my opponent to have Toxic Deluge. Hey, if your content's good, I'm gonna plug it. If your content's bad, I'm not gonna plug it. But guess what? You're a good player and you're doing interesting things, so what's not to like? Can I cheat? Phil, make Zach make more podcasts. I'd totally do another podcast with Zach. He and I have a lot to talk about. We regularly chat on Facebook about various aspects of Legacy and D&T. Playing around him to Turok, I want this in play on human. don't tell me anything about Joe's hand. I don't want you to do that. I didn't know what you meant. I made the play as if I didn't know he has Deluge. I'm not going to, like, make a play I wouldn't have made because I accidentally gained extra information. Don't know what I'm supposed to get here. Prelate's okay. Stoneforge is okay. Crusader is okay. I have 4 lands, right? Yeah, 4 lands. I think I want something that generates value in some capacity. I think I want to get a Stoneforge, because it can help me unlock the Batter Skull that's in my hand. Have I given any thought recently to a 3rd main deck Recruiter of the Guard? No, I have not. I don't think that's a bad idea. I just haven't given it any thought. How much do Twitch affiliates get from subs? I think it's a 50-50 split. I want to play out another mom and hope we don't get, like, Snapcaster Toxic Deluged. What's the deal for partners? Like, I have affiliate status, and I'm pretty sure it's 50-50. When you consider that, like, they're providing all of the infrastructure and, like, the platform and all of that, you know, 50-50 is a fine split. Like, it would be literally impossible for me to do that, like, this sort of thing without some sort of help from Twitch. Oh, did I accidentally cast a mom, that other mom off of basic instead of cavern? Then that's my bad. I feel like I'm gonna get Culligan's commanded. Yeah, OBS is an amazing program. I don't believe that it's free, in all honesty. I have 521 followers. I don't know the count off the top of my head, but somewhere between like 25 and 30 subs. Oh god, the Snapcaster deluge. Oh, does it say subs? I'll get that fixed. That's my bad. I can wasteland my opponent, taking them off of something like a Culligan's command. But if I do that, I might not be able to recast Batterskull. So that's a tricky spot. I can choose to wasteland them off of either Leovold or Culligan's command. Let me go no wasteland. Yeah, that's That's the thing. If you wanna get the subs, you have to be consistent. You know, my schedule is currently flexible enough, and I don't have that many evening requirements where like I can pretty regularly set aside a couple of evenings to stream. And the fact that I do all the Thraben University content also helps me attract subs who want to support me because of that. I have directions below the stream about all the Twitch Prime stuff. Bounce Batter Skull, then draw Crusader. Oddly enough, I think I'm probably supposed to play Crusader. It's uncounterable. My opponent's holding up 5 mana, which represents hard cast Force of Will. Super awkward. I'm a teacher. I get the same questions all the time. Sometimes immediately after someone just asks it. That doesn't bother me. I'm here to teach and educate. Like that's my whole gig, right? Don't tell them about the jacuzzi. As far as advice goes for playing the deck, ask questions. Like, whether it's to me, whether it's on the forums, whether it's against people that you're playing against. Like, the more questions you ask, the more you're going to learn. The more you learn, the better you get at the deck. Alright, opponent now cannot fetch again. If Joe fetches again, then the Mirror Crusader is lethal in 1 hit. Not that Joe's really going to need to fetch again. It's just something to be aware of. I do not care about that. Don't really care about that, but I still might remove it. Because it represents life gain. It doesn't represent enough life gain to be lethal, though. Yes, Stunton, I got your emotes. Sorry I didn't get a chance to respond to you. I very much like the overall quality. There's one little thing that needs to change. And I'll message you about that. It just doesn't fit one of Twitch's requirements currently. Alright. You have anything that can get rid of this Crusader? No. Hey, thank you very much for your subscription. I'll say a few more words in a minute here. when I finish this game. It's kind of a tense moment. This is the moment where it either all comes together or I die. Alright. So thank you very much for your subscription. I really do appreciate the support. It means a lot to me, and I get to do what I want to do quite a bit because of all of the support that I get from my followers and my subs and people sending me messages and whatnot. So sure, YouTube theoretically is another source of revenue, but you need to hit some relatively big numbers in order to, you know, qualify for their partner equivalent or whatever it is. Excuse me. Excuse me. Sorry, I forgot to update my spreadsheet, so I had a little bit of typing. Hey, thank you very much for your subscription. I appreciate the support. We'll see if that support will let me beat Joe here. Yeah, so let me say I do not care about my YouTube. I am not trying to be a YouTuber. The only reason why I put content on YouTube is so that people who have Twitch blocked at work can watch my content, and so that my videos don't fade out over time. Because Twitch lets you keep, I think it's like, lets you keep a maximum of 10 videos, and then I think after like a month or something like that, they fade away. So that's why I have videos on YouTube. Yeah, so I will never care about my follower content on YouTube, and I don't intend on, like, polishing up my videos before they go to YouTube at all. Those are not things that are currently on my docket. Hey, I am just part of the process. You know, there are a lot of people streaming, and, you know, if I can make somebody's lunch hour a little bit better, or, you know, if I can give someone some content that they can, you know, casually watch while they're doing a bunch of monotonous work, I'm happy about that. Like, I very regularly, like, tune in to Bahra's stream or something like that over my lunch hour / planning periods when I don't have students around. So Bahra, after this game, I'll walk you through the process. It's pretty easy. Oh wait, auto-upload. I don't auto-upload, I manually upload because I change my names a lot to just, like, clarify things. I know I played the Wasteland instead of the port he saw. I want to have the Wasteland in play for flexibility. Fuck. Alright. Yeah, I made some tweaks on my end that worked out very, very well. No, I don't think I want to get Stoneforge. I think I just want to get a Crusader. Like, unless I get hemmed, the Crusader is going to be really, really, really powerful. My opponent is currently on a plan that involves aggroing me out with Leovold before I draw a creature that brickwalls Leovold or anything that races Leovold. The issue with getting Stoneforge Mystic is that it's still really soft to him. So if I'm going to do something that's soft to him, I would rather it be Crusader, which has more generic upside in the matchup. I don't want to waste in the face of Leovold and Jace. That seems poor. Like, if I was going to waste, the turn to do it was the turn that, like, my stuff got deluged away. So I can go Stoneforge Mystic, Sword, not Sword Equip. Alright, you already know about this board. Guess I'll play that out. Let's see if this resolves. That's unfortunate. No, I don't think I wanted to waste there. I don't think I want to waste now, honestly. I don't want to give my opponent another card. Sure. I'm going to play that out so that doesn't randomly just get hemmed away. That's important. Oh, I should probably have held that for Cataclysm reasons. Yeah, that's correct. But in order for me to get a Cataclysm, it has to, like, go through the Jace. So I have to have, like, good card in a row. You got another edict for me? Damn. Rough. Yeah, I don't care about that. Cataclysm's probably too late now, honestly. Like, we're at 3 life, there's a Leovold. Do I have my Batter Skull? Alright. So, let's play towards Joe Lisette missing an obvious line. So, I can get Batter Skull, play Batter Skull, and he's supposed to bounce it. Or I guess I can just get Sword of Fire and Ice, equip Sword of Fire and Ice, and then I just die to Deathrite Drains twice instead. Yeah, I guess I'm, relatively speaking, dead on board if I do it the other way. Yeah, Meteor falling on Joe's head would be a batter only out. Yeah, I agree. Alright, so opponent can't drain because of the Rest in Pieces. But, like, just Jace Ultimate will be good enough. If Joe tops this, I'm probably just dead, right? You know, he bottoms it. Okay. That is actually... not good enough. Because I'm still just going to get Jace ultimated. Womp, 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 womp. Alright, let me update my data here. So, loss. Game 3, loss to Jace after a rough deluge. Cataclysm should be on top of my deck more. Yeah, that'd be nice. So for anyone who's tuned in recently, hi, my name's Phil Gallagher. I run ThrabenU University, and tonight we're playing Mono White Death and Taxes. Nothing particularly special here. We're playing a 4 Crusader version. I have to figure out what on earth I did to my sideboard sorting. Sort by color. Sure, that'll work. Phil, any further thoughts on Cavernous Souls? If you're playing a like normal stock deck list, it's probably worth it to run 2. Like it's decent value. Like this build has a ton of humans. And this build where I was like testing the selfless spirits that I wanted to go and play like early on, where I might not necessarily have white that's not cavern yet. I like trying more planes. So like if you just play more basic lands, you get better against, well, this hand's unplayable. This one is also rough. Sorry, if you play more basic lands, you get better against Delver. But you get worse against decks like Miracles and Czech Pile. How many rounds am I? I'm 2 rounds in. Is this better than the average 5? With a true white source scryed to the top, this hand is playable. Without a true white source, or without a land at all, this is unplayable. This is borderline. I'm gonna keep it. Bottom that. And pray. Did you see? Yes, I did see you keep the non-lander and win. That was an amazing non-lander, though. I would have kept that, too. That was, like, unquestionable keep. That was very, very good. Yeah, we're on the scry and pray. There's no question about it. Fuck. Well met, Raparez. Joke's on you, I found a land, though. It's fine, it's fine. We drew another land. There's gonna be another one on top, too. That's how this works, right? Just die, Death Red Shaman. Just die. Die, please. I can't deal with mana acceleration when I'm potentially doing nothing for a few turns. Aha! Everything's great. Come on, Vile. You can do it. Get in play, buddy. Oh, Thalia. I don't ask for much. Never mind. I ask for nothing. Ew. What is this? It's fucking bird force of will? It's disgusting. We'll try again. Ha ha! This hand was great. Unquestionable keep. Everything's working out just fine. Force of Swill. Ooh. We getting K commanded? We getting K commanded? Blow up my vial, make me discard? Oh. Well, that's pretty bad, too. It's fine. We have a Revoker for this Lily now. It gets to come down off the vial next turn. Yeah, we get to keep one of these cards. That's great. Our opponent's so generous. Alright, somebody ban that bot. What's taking so long? Do you have like a fucking Gurmag over there? That'd be bad for me. Yeah, that's bad. I should have responded to that lightning bolt by putting my Revoker in, so Liliana would be at 2 instead of 3 loyalty. That was a misplay on my end. I think we're playing against something approximating Czech Pile. Bahra, it usually takes about an hour to upload. Not like an hour exactly or anything like that, but like usually within an hour of me submitting it, I get my email saying that it uploaded successfully. Alright, chat. So we can start playing the game of, like, what does my opponent have in hand? Is it going to be like another Gurmag that they can't quite cast yet? Jace. Sure, Jace is reasonable. I mean, Bahara, if you want to make, like, any money streaming, like, the way to go about it is, like, set some consistent hours so that people know when they can tune in to see you, and then you're very likely to get, like, donations and subs and stuff. I think that's a better approach than trying to go and, like, get donations to put it up on YouTube. Oh, shit. Them flipping Bolt is devastating. Bahra, the other route for you to consider if, like, you just, like, realistically can't set a schedule is to look into something like Patreon and set up a Patreon where your fans get some degree of support for supporting you in turn. Yeah, I could tap his fetch, but he'll still get the Bolt in hand, right? So I'm still just dead the next turn. Mono Revoker control. Yeah, a schedule in the stream description goes a long way. And doing something like posting to Twitter and or like the D&T Facebook group to like let people know you're going live, it helps a lot. This is me doing a stifle check. And now I'll concede. Yeah, I mean, my regular stream times are Monday and Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern. If you dodge that, you dodge, 90% of my stream time. So we have a question now of, is my opponent like a regular Delver deck? Or are they like a Grixis control deck that happens to play Delvers as a finisher? Like, they look like a Grixis Delver deck, with the exception of that one weird Liliana of the Veil we saw. I'm going to board for Grixis Delver. Consider those. So against Grixis Delver, I board out Revokers. Yeah, so the Badlands is weird for Delver, as is the Liliana of the Veil, but the Delvers would be weird in Grixis control. Oh, I'm always high on Sword of War and Peace. But, like, when you make an adjustment to a deck list that has ramifications that make me want to change other things. Like, I love Sword of War and Peace, but I don't ram it into a deck when I don't think it is right for the exact, like, 74 other cards that I am playing. Oh, Joe had Marin in his build? I knew he had streamed with Marin in his deck in the past. It's very interesting. It's part of the general trend of the metagame right now to get, like, bigger and bigger and bigger to outgrind the other decks. So you're trying to get, like, as big as you can get without exposing yourself to just dying to combo. My opponent probably doesn't have a basic, right? So my opponent doesn't have a basic, then my turn this turn is just like Path, Deathrite Shaman, Wasteland them. Let's find out. If they've got Badlands in their deck, there's no way they have a basic, right? Yeah! Basics are for suckers. Ignore this, ignore this. I'm not a sucker. It's either 0 basics or like 12 fucking basics, right? None of this in-between stuff. Oh man, did my opponent have Stone Cold Nothing? Ugh. Not even a force? Alright, it's Batterskull time. This board state's my favorite. We'll see if we can get the 0 permanent win. Are you going to discard, opponent? Oh, you're going to discard. I'm ahead on board, but my opponent does have 8 cards in hand right now, so we've got to keep that in mind. Got to play around their 8 cards. No, like, let's phrase this properly. My opponent kept a good hand that had a land and a Deathrite Shaman, as well as probably some cantrips. That is a good hand. But those sorts of hands can get really punished by D&T. I'd like to draw a Sword of Fire and Ice off the top. I disagree. I think a 1-land Deathrite Shaman hand is a great hand. It has cantrips as well. Like, their 1 land was a fetch land, too. We're just gonna get Thalia here. It, like, almost literally doesn't matter what we get. You know, opponent is very, very, very behind on board and can't draw a land to save their life. I'm thinking if I want to change anything on the draw. It's possible on the draw, since I know my opponent is on Gurmags, I should play some number of Rest in Peace. So, like, the only way the opponent gets super, super punished for a hand like that, what they kept, is if it is exactly, like, you are on the draw, the opponent has basic white source and Wasteland and Swords to Plowshares or Path to Exile. Otherwise, you still get to cantrip the next turn. Maybe I'll trim 1 Flicker Wisp for a Rest in Peace. I don't know how many Gurmag Anglers my opponent's playing. Flicker Wisp is a great card. Who am I kidding? I want to play the Flicker Wisps. Hand is great. Yeah, like, in all of those Delver decks, like, you don't need to mulligan 1-landers because you have all of those cantrips and Deathrite Shamans to help stitch together your mana base. I rarely ship 1-land hands when I play Delver. You know, don't take my word as expert advice from the side of, like, Delver, but, you know, I don't think you're playing Delver to ship 1-land hands. Nice Wasteland, opponent. Hmm. Fair. Woo! Alright. Things are looking pretty good. Unfortunately, the vial got needled. Oh, man. Oh, man. Yeah, we're a bully. Let me put on a bully hat for you. Now you can see how much of a bully I am. It's this much. So I think I'm going to ignore the Delver for a turn and just Wasteland them and put Batterskull in. Scumbag Delver doesn't flip, and he doesn't get another land. Enjoy your uncastable creature. Alright, opponent scoops. Opponent just says uncle. Wasteland is a fair and balanced Magic card, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, so here's our deck list. I'm going to leave this up for a second. I'm going to just kind of get up and stretch for a second and just move around a little bit. I'm getting a little groggy and I don't want to play poorly before my next match. If you have any questions, please throw them in the chat and I'll answer them in about 2 minutes. Alright, sorry about the delay, welcome back. Are you playing this build or the 4X Mirror Crusader build? Oops, I'm on the Selfless Spirit screen. Yeah, sorry, I'm on the Mirror Crusader build for this stream. How have the Selfless Spirits been? Pretty good. They warrant more testing. They've done some really cute things, like saved my board from a Kozilek's return. They're not great against Toxic Deluge. And I know that sounds silly to say, but that comes up more often than you would think. It's kind of the board sweep, the board sweeper of choice right now, other than Terminus. In September of last year, my opponent was seen on Belcher. I'm going to hope that they're not on Belcher still, and keep this hand. Alright, this is what you wanted. This is what you fucking wanted, right, chat? This is what you're here for? The Bully versus Veteran Explorer matchup. Well, you're getting it. You're getting it, chat. Here's your Nic Fit. Let's see if we can die to some Siege Rhinos. I don't know why he's running out the Naked Veteran Explorer. Maybe that's a fine play in the absence of knowing, like, what I'm doing. Just getting another... Okay, a Deathrite, sure. I really want to put this Revoker on Deed, but I don't actually know that my opponent's playing black. They probably are. Like, at least some amount of black for the Deathrite Shaman. But in the short term, just playing out, like, Mom and Revoker on Deathrite might keep my opponent from doing anything of substance. My opponent also absolutely should have attacked with Veteran Explorer. Yeah, I think my opponent should be on black. But if they needed their black, why didn't they just fetch it? And why did they keep this hand? That's another question. Alright, fine. Oh, you're not gonna trick me, opponent, making it look like you're making a bad attack when you can just, like, eat Deathrite land. Yeah, not happening. gonna get the Batter Skull for diversity here. In the event that my opponent actually starts doing their Nic Fit things, I really want to have this Batter Skull to help me, like, go as big as they are going. Additionally, the Sword of Fire and Ice that I already happen to have in my hand is going to let me still start mowing down things like Death Rites if I couple it with Mother Rune's protection. Well, that is mighty interesting. It was my plan to go and equip the sword to Thalia, just give pro-green, kill Deathrite Shaman to take them off of a mana source. But is that better than just, like, jamming the Crusader? Probably not. The Deathrite Shaman technically doesn't produce mana right now anyway. There's literally nothing in the graveyard. Does my opponent not know his Veteran Explorer is unblockable? Is this something my opponent doesn't know? It's written right there on the card. Unblockable. Can't be blocked. Unless opponent is stupid. Send in the Death Machine. I'll go ahead and send one at the Deathrite Shaman. My opponent draws a fetch. I don't want them to have access to that extra mana. So my opponent's at 12 now. So I have 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I have lethal next turn. No, I should shoot this one at them, because Scavenging Ooze can gain them 1 life. No, I don't care about Scooze. Like, Scooze does nothing, right? If my opponent attacks with the Scooze, I'll just take the 4, not care about it. And then they'll die. Yes, there is a split between plains and snow-covered plains to play around Predict, targeting me in Miracles. Alright, so we're playing against Nic Fit. I was on the draw, and I win against R Cabbage. Game 1 win with Crusader and SoPi. Opponent has weak hand. Alright, so Cataclysm. Great. Council's Judgment. Deals with big, stupid, dumb idiots. Recruiter. Great. Rest in Peace. Probably pretty good. Stops Veteran Explorer shenanigans, and my opponent seems to be leaning heavily on the graveyard with, like, Deathrite Shaman and Scavenging Ooze. Could maybe play 3. We'll probably play 2. And some number of Path to Exiles and Relic Warders are worth considering. I don't think Priest is worth considering. Let's figure out what I want to not play. Oh, sorry. So the explanation for Snow-Covered Plains versus regular plains is that when your opponent is playing Predict and targets you, you want to be able to play around that. So Plains and Snow-Covered Plains have different names. I don't think my opponent is going to run Recurring Nightmare. Am I supposed to trim the Stoneforge package a little bit because of Deed? I guess I can always just, like, trim 1 Recruiter, trim 1 Thalia, trim 1 Stoneforge, and just kind of do some trimming across the board rather than cut any one specific thing. So I'm going to fix something while I'm thinking about it. I will keep a somewhat lackluster hand. It's not exciting, but, like, it plays Magic. What the hell is this? What? Is this good? Alright, I guess I'll revoke it. Why is this good? I'm so confused. Alright, that's a good point. Our opponent is a Nic Fit player. They have the luxury of being able to play some weird shit. So here's a real question. This deed will blow up my opponent's Dryad Arbor and their Channeler as Initiate if they use it. Do I just extend a little bit more into the deed and just like play Thalia with Caracas up? Or do I just Council Judgment it? Because I don't think they can actually blow this deed right now. Like, more or less, no matter what I play, I don't think they can blow the deed. That super backfires if they go, like, Veteran Explorer, cast for 2, though. I don't know if this is right. This is a greedy play. This is absolutely a greedy play. We'll see if I get punished for it. And now I'm going to play something that cantrips, so this doesn't really, like, count as further extending. Opponent playing very patiently here. I can wait. Alright, do you have a removal spell for Thalia now? Is this what you've been waiting on? Nope. Alright, so your deed got a Revoker and half a Stoneforge. Trade accepted. The fourth, or excuse, null rod. Okay, I don't really care about that. You're not winning the game with a null rod. So, with the red-white build, you want more mana sources that let you go and do things. And you have more mana sinks in forms of things like P and K, so you need port a little bit less as another mana sink. I'm just going to put pedal to the metal here. Boy, opponent, are you going to be real sad in a second. Real sad now, instead of just real sad. Alright, so I use 4 mana, get the deed off the board. Then I have 4 mana left over, and I can just play another Crusader. And waste. Do I just have 8 damage next turn with Crusader, right? 4 initial damage, or 2 initial damage puts them to 6. Then Jitte Pump twice is hitting for another 6. Yeah, so I have lethal damage with Crusader next turn, so I don't need to make an attack in and give them the chance to get more lands with Veteran Explorer. Yeah, so some people in the chat answered some of the other portions of it I didn't go into because I was kind of thinking my way through some stuff here. But the mana requirements are a little... Alright, well. That's not gonna quite do what you want there, buddy. Let me just double check to make sure that I can add, right? Crusader hits them to 6, get 2 Jitte counters, pump, that's 6 damage, that is 8, math checks out. Fuck, no rod. Herp. No rod. Alright. That's on me. I fucked that up. That's fine. So we'll give my opponent another turn. So my opponent's getting the lands no matter what. Yeah, the rod does go if they deed my Crusader away. I'm thinking about whether or not I need to attack with this Thalia. I don't think I do. I think it's largely a wash. So my opponent certainly blocks, and then they get more lands, and I can't really do anything with more lands. Or can I? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cast the Batter Skull, and then I would have 3 up. My opponent would have to deed for 5 then. I'd lose my Thalia. Yeah, it doesn't matter. So the reason I was doing math was to see whether or not I could cast Batter Skull, still hold up 3 afterwards. That's what I was doing math on. Alright, so my opponent doesn't have a lot of cards left now. But they have a few lands. Alright, Cabal Therapy is pretty good. What would you like to name? My Thalia? My Batter Skull? My Jete? I think you know about all those. Alright, you get the Thalia. Good news for you. The bad news is, there's still a lot of bullshit there. So now for the rest of the game, I'll hold up 3 mana so that this Batter Skull can never permanently die. Give it another deed. Pulse the Batter Skull. Well, tell you what. How about no? Is that 10 mana? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Welcome to the Nic Fit matchups, where things like this are reasonable. Yay! Nullrod died when my opponent used their, I think, second Pernicious Deed. So that was sort of an interesting game. Long term, it ended up working out pretty well for us, that we, like, just let my opponent keep the deed rather than council judgmenting it away. We ended up council judgmenting away another deed, so that was a little bit moot, but, you know, so be it. Alright, now we see if we can redeem our terrible start and break even for this league. I don't have any data on my opponent. I'll keep a reasonable hand. I'm on the draw for this one. Oh, God. Why lands? I want to play against lands again. Please don't have the loam, too. Please don't just, like, have the loam in the opener along with diamond and exploration. Okay. This is fine. They kept a super quick Dark Depths hand, which I just beat handily. My opponent just complimented my basic land choice, so I respect my opponent. I'll play Wasteland out first. Okay. Does opponent just have loam now? And they do this every turn forever? Damn it. Yes, they do. Ugh. Yeah, if there's a Punishing Fire and a Ghost Quarter. I really need to draw Prelate or Recruiter real quick. So I guess I make an attack in with the Stoneforge, try to get them to produce a Merit Lodge and block. They wisely take the 1 point of damage. I can Flicker Wisp to make them discard a Misty Rainforest, but I don't really think that gets anywhere long term. They also have like Glacial Chasm in their hand that they can just bin, so that's of minimal real significance. Alright, there's the Grove. I'll go ahead and just let the Flicker Wisp go. Of course it's lands. Why wouldn't it be? It was Nic Fit right before this. Just makes sense, right? Game 1 against lands is not fun. Ah, shit. Second Punishing Fire and Barbarian Ring. It's no bueno. Punishing Fire a mom. It happens. How do you win this? Well, we're gonna get Batterskull equipped with Sword of Fire and Ice, and figure out what we're doing from there. Somehow beat my opponent's Glacial Chasm that they have in hand and can recycle every turn. Drawing Sanctum Prelate this turn would be not good enough because fucking Barbarian Ring is on the battlefield, but whatever. No, we're not crying and going to game 2. So this is 6. This is 8 damage. So I guess theoretically the Germ presents lethal on the next turn if I attack in with his Mother of Runes as well. If I attack in with the Mom, then my opponent can just, like, free roll Punishing Fire it. I might need the Mom to try to push through a Merit Lodge token if my opponent produces one. But, like, it just takes 3 mana or 2 mana with the Barbarian Ring if they get to Threshold to just kill the Mom. So that's largely irrelevant. I'm going to present my opponent with lethal next turn. Well, we can deal with some Merit Lodges. There's a Maze and a Tabernacle. This is fine. In all honesty, this is fine. So now all I need is a Rashadan port, and I will have lethal. Right? Because I go 5 equip, I have 1 land already, then Rashadan port can tap down the Mazavith that my opponent is certainly going to play. No, they already have a Mazavith. It's in their graveyard, or hand. Hand now. So, like, we win with Rashadan port. Oh god, yes, please spend your turn doing that. Yes. Yes. Draw port. Draw port. Come on. Come on, port. Or wasteland. Phil, we should concede this game for clock. Herp derp. Ah. Ah. All right. That one feels pretty good. All right. So I think Revoker comes out. Some number of Crusaders comes out. I think I trimmed like 2 Swords to Plowshares before. Yeah, but we're not playing against a good lands player. We're playing against an average lands player. I don't need to Council's Judgment. Yeah, my opponent very early on went for going off in the face of an active wasteland, and there were a number of plays of that caliber that let me stay in the game a little bit more than I needed to be. This hand is not good enough. It doesn't really do anything. Like, we're counting on the top of our deck to do anything that matters against this opponent. I'd rather mulligan and try to find, like, a Rest in Peace or a Vial. This is a better hand. Oh! Deal. Are you from the Baltimore area? Because if you're from the Baltimore area, that's, like, really, really true. That area is stacked. If I wasteland my opponent, they probably just Ghost Quarter themselves? Question mark? I guess that's fine, though. So I guess I can wasteland the Barbarian Ring. Then whatever I play this turn can't get Molten Vortexed until their turn. Or I can just go threat, threat, and make them have multiple lands. I think I want to get this Barbarian Ring off of the table while it will still, like, 100% go to exile, so that my prelate is a hard lock later on. I think lands is an absolutely insanely great deck. Like, the current Legacy metagame is really, really fair, and that's when you want to play lands. Like, if you're just going to play against, like, Delver and shit of that nature all day, like, it's great to play lands. Like, if you're playing against, like, Delver and Czech Pile, seems good. So I can tap their Thespian Stage. In response, they make Merit Lodge, or just let me tap it. If they make Merit Lodge, I Caracas it. If they let me tap it, I Wasteland Dark Depths. Hmm. Hmm. I'm going to admit that we've drawn pretty well this game, chat. Ugh. I don't even think I want to cast this Cataclysm. Like, my opponent's cards do borderline nothing, and my mana is worth something, and my lands are all disruptive. So I don't think I want to cast that. Question, why not set Prelate to 3 if we're going to be equipping it with Sword and riding it to victory anyways? Do they have a way of killing it if they can't Gross and Grip anything? So 2 shuts off, like, Natural Punishing Fire and Loam. Loam's already shut off by Rip, so there's a possibility that setting it to 3 is correct. I need to think about that a little bit more than I'm willing to do right now. Yeah, I don't want to think about that too much right now. I've used a lot of brain power today, but it's possible that's correct. But if something goes wrong, I definitely want it on 2. But a lot of things that can go wrong would be 3 mana. Yeah. Yeah, so this is why you don't like O2 drop events, right? Because we just like absolutely clawed our way tooth and nail out of a very, very poor start there. Give me 1 second to update my spreadsheet, and then I'll say a few more things. But I want to do this before I forget. Okay, sorry about that. I just want to make sure that I have everything in order before I forget something. All right. So like this is why you don't O2 drop. We lost our first 2 rounds against 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 against Death and Taxes and Czech Pile, and then beat Delver, Nic Fit, and Lands in order to run this one back. I see a lot of people dropping very, very quickly in order to like just like jam more leagues and try to get higher EV. But, you know, just by playing out a couple more rounds, you know, I got my entry fee back plus a treasure chest. And some good practice, right? Like, this... Playing in the mindset where, like, you don't get bogged down by a couple of losses is really, really important. Like, I've gone on to cash tons of events, like, big events, where I started out 0-2, and I just, like, absolutely rallied back. Your tiebreakers might be terrible, but if your record is good enough, like, you still get there afterwards. So, does anyone have any questions for me about the build or anything about D&T right now? Otherwise, I'm just going to go ahead and host someone else who is playing some Legacy, because I already streamed once today, and I'm pretty wiped. Thank you all for joining me. Talked to my roommate about borrowing tin fins, and he's on board with that. He's in the middle of a vintage league currently, but expect a tin fins league probably sometime within about the next 5 days. You know, certainly by the end of the weekend, I think. Otherwise, I'll talk to you soon. Link to Gideon versus Klasm, I'll post that in just a second.